say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm headed to the stars, ready to go far and start walking. Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm headed to the stars, ready to go far and start walking.
And we are back. We have split our first few games 1-1 mark, which means
we've got a series on our hands. If anyone can tweet at me and tell me what series this is, you'll win absolutely nothing, but I'll respect you a little bit more.
I have no idea. I absolutely failed that subject as aggressively as you possibly could in high school. So
an aggressive failure.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're inting it on tests? You're running it down?
Yeah. I was like, there's no way. It was so bad. It was one of the few subjects you could drop in your final year, and I was like, not doing that one.
FF at 15?
FF at grade 12.
FF at age 15 on mathematics. Yeah, I got you. I was the opposite, man. I was like, get me out of history, get me out of like actually important things. Teach me math and physics, bruh.
There you go. Look at you now.
Not using them.
Well, we can at least count to 3 because that's where we are. Game 3 here between these two teams. As expected, a fairly close affair so far. It does feel like DetonatioN FocusMe putting on a slightly better show in game number 2, despite some good plays from Loud and perhaps an oopsie from their side as well. But I don't think that means much as far as the overall series goes. Like, we might be playing 5 games.
I feel like 5 games is very much a possibility right now. Who knows? Maybe we just jinxed it. But it does feel like the onus is on Loud to disrupt the DFM game plan.
Yes.
Scaling, stability, late game team fighting.
Azir.
DFM's strategy right now. Loud is on blue side here. So most likely going to have some bans able to get rid of the Azir or just first pick it away. We saw Robo, did have a very good Aatrox game, I think, but still just the comp itself felt very all in on landing your wombo and instantly annihilating people. This feels like a scrappier game than that. I'd rather see them if they want to go for this team fighting angle. I like their game 1 approach more, which was very much about skirmishing champions. Even though they didn't get those off in the early game, at least you still were able to team fight later, and it didn't rely on just pressing R all at the right time.
Yeah, definitely a team that wants tools that wants to press buttons that let them engage, right?
Yes.
Yes, they dropped a lot of team fight ultimates and a lot of 5v5 stuff, but they, to the Analyst test point, they press those buttons whether there's 1 enemy in front of them or 5 enemies in front of them.
Yeah, and I absolutely want to see them break up the game plan for DFM, not only because they play it well, but also the history of this team. For people who don't know, this is the best Japanese team ever by a country mile. They dominate their region every year basically since 2018, since they got the core of Evi, Steel, and Yutapon. They've been playing together. Steel and Yutapon have been together a little bit longer. Yutapon has been on this organization basically the entire time. He has been an absolute stud of the LJL, one of the most consistent carries. Yaharong has stepped in from Arya last year when they were able to make a group stage. They had a very disappointing MSI performance, and that led to at least me and I think some other people starting to doubt them a little bit more this year if it had the same magic of the DFMs of old, and clearly the answer is yes. And so with this team having this much experience in best of 5s, with this core, you don't want to give them the easy playmaking. Love the Sejuani taken away from Steel.
Yep.
Love the Azir taken away from Yaharang.
The tree is back though, and likely the first pick here for Loud. Trundle also joining in as the other ban, and Kalista and Amumu once again being taken off the board. Do like that Amumu ban, but as predicted, it is the other tank jungler taken away.
Yep, I like this angle from Loud. You get rid of 2 of the other tank jungler options in terms of, all right, if you're going to get rid of Sejuani and you have Trundle up, then I think obviously Steel would be very happy to play that into Maokai. You get rid of both those. Quick one for Evi there. Game face. Not having fun right now.
Yeah,
we're about winning.
Picks Yuumi.
Woo!
Statement right there.
All right, slams the Yuumi right out the gate, comboing it with Graves, Nocturne, Hecarim. Makes the most sense. It's the highest priority jungler left up. Wasn't sure if they're going to grab it though. It does feel like, in terms of games that are going a little bit slower pace, I do like the Maokai side of the matchup. They are pretty different champions. Robo's Stride Breaker not able to make it happen just last game.
Love this takeaway if they do want to pick it up here as well for Loud. Yutapon's Kai'Sa has actually been a fixture of bans already in this series, and in this tournament he's looked great on it. Brance loves a champion where he can get aggressive and show off those hands. Kai'Sa definitely fitting the bill there.
Kai'Sa, much better for me and what I want to see out of Brance. Yes, he can play Seraphine.
Yes.
But someone being capable of playing a champion and should they play a champion are two very different questions that I feel like sometimes pro players get caught up on. They don't want to be stuck in a box. They don't want to be the weak side guy. They want to be able to play everything. And like, yeah, you can, but it's really best for our team if Brance is on a playmaker, if he's on someone who can go ahead and actually carry a team fight, not just provide shields and heals and all these things.
Ooh, okay. Did have Aatrox available. Robo, as we said, did look good in the last game as well. But I think also we can kind of nod to Robo's depth as far as champions go. So actually, Rell is going to be the pick. We talked about Seos needs a go button. Rell's got quite a few.
I like it. They're trying to pair up some engage together. There would probably be some support bans if you didn't grab it here, because then you can mismatch, and you can expect Leona bans, some of these other things. Maybe they feel like at that point you would also see the Rell go, or they're just trying to hide their soul laners, to your point. Obviously, Robo is very good with his champion pool. Same with tinowns. They have some good counter picks. So you'll at least get to see some of the soul lanes come out for DFM now, grabbing the Sivir. I expected the Sivir to go with with the cat. And they're grabbing that one, so again, it can't get banned out. We've seen Sivir Yuumi come back in the middle a little bit. People were disgusted yesterday seeing that champion combo come back together. The cat is not dead. She has lost some of her utility, I'd say, in healing. They changed it to be more ratio-oriented in terms of her kits, as well as being more about the unstoppable artillery nuker. We saw her topping the damage charts for her team as support. It was obviously something that made League fans sick to their stomach worldwide.
Pretty good champion. Has been banned quite a lot this series as well, especially in Phase 2. So smart pickup there early on from Detonation. FocusMe, it is the Olaf alongside the Aatrox taken away from Robo though. Do like the nod there to Robo's game 1 pick.
Gnar ban?
Ooh, Gnar is a good ban.
I feel like what they're setting up here is the blind Gnar and then giving counter pick for Yaharong.
Yep.
You got rid of the Aatrox, which Robo, like we said, played it well enough to respect it, even though it didn't win the game. And then obviously the Olaf counter pick into the Gnar from the first time. Does feel like they're setting that up to blind here. Feels like they're coming down to the wire, deciding what they want to get rid of. It's the Ahri continuing to focus down on Yaharong. So Evie, if he wants it, can snap this Gnar pickup.
Have to see. Obviously, the trade-off is you lose another mid laner, but happy to give the counter pick, which they feel like is probably more important. For Yaharong, no, is the easy one. I think it's the other reason maybe not to ban it. Robo feels comfortable in the matchup. He's played it twice already with 2 different champions. Gonna do it with a 3rd different one.
Still a lot of counters up if he wants to go hard on it. You know, you have the Camille, you have Aurelia, you have, I don't know, Kennen. You can play almost anything into it. I don't know if people like the Kennen side into it anymore, but he's going for the Jax angle. Here we go. All right. This is the first time I feel like they have a legitimate, like, we're really going up here. Yes, you probably should have gone top a little bit more with the Olaf in game 1, but obviously with how things were going on the bot side, understandable since they were clapping up the Caitlyn that the Olaf didn't get the attention. This time around, probably going to see the Lissandra roams to the top side, Croc going up there with the Hecarim, making some plays happen. And this means the Swain has gone through. So DFM making their own oh, okay. I am personally a huge Swain enjoyer. I just love that champion. I'm definitely one of those drain tank players. Any champion that can sit in a team fight, I'm a big fan of. But Taliyah makes sense to cover the Jax plays, like we're saying, given how much of a focus it is. Taliyah is also no slouch in mid to late game team fights. Yaharong has had some nasty flicks, getting people as they come out of stasis and whatnot, getting those timing windows down. So here he'll have the individual carry potential as well as being able to shadow what should be LLL, Loud's game plan of snowballing top.
Yeah, especially with the Yuumi, even though Sivir is an obvious pairing, Hecarim's kind of the other direction you can go. We've seen a lot of different combos with Taliyah's E, which obviously operates a little bit differently now than times of the past. You don't just have to flick them through the rocks to get the stun. You can have someone else do it. So Poppy, pretty common. Gnar ult can do it. But Hecarim, actually pretty sick when you set up a gank, because it's just an extra CC that you can put from like a screen away.
Yeah, so we'll see if Steel can perform this time around, forced off his trusty old Sejuani. I like this game. This is, I feel like, the game that will kind of set the tone for the rest of this series. DFM came in with game plan A. Late game, scaling, very sturdy team comp. They went 1-1 with it, but it did feel like they were coming out a little bit better over the course of the series, and Loud has tried to force them onto their second game plan. It is still team fighting, but it's now Sivir Yuumi. It's now Steel on more of a carry champion, and so we'll see if Loud can get the better of them here. They are also on more of a split push-oriented game plan themselves this time around.
And as we did have a number of Robo moments already throughout this series, Jax certainly can create a lot of those as well.
He's having a good series. You're feeling himself. You're like, give me the ball, coach. I'm ready to make some plays happen.
All right, we're going to have to make it happen here. We'll see who gets to take the lead in this best of 5. The first between these 2 regions. Detonation, FocusMe, and Loud Matched up nicely here, been fun so far. That'll continue there as a quick little poke into the enemy jungle, gets some damage on the tinowns and back away slowly.
First best of 5 between these regions, but potentially the first of many. DFM has been a mainstay of the international wildcards, the play-ins. As the names have evolved with time, they have as well, solidifying themselves as potentially the most threatening minor region. CB LoL was that once upon a time, had that trough kind of a couple years ago where they were not able to make it to the bracket portions of play-ins. And here they are again. Haven't won a best of 5 during this time since, I believe it was 2017 was the last one they won against another play-in team. So this could be the start of a rivalry between these two.
Would love to see it as teams are fanning out and just kicking things off nice and steadily. Jungler's going to be on the same side of the rift as Brance and Seos buddy up in the brush. Probably nothing happening here. Ooh, Yaharong actually even going to go ahead, put some extra vision down, check to see if anyone was in the brush, but has a lot of vision on Croc's red side camps.
I think they were reading a bot to top clear. Hold on, we'll hold this as DFM is in trouble potentially.
As the dismount, Yutapon with a very nice level 1 spell shield. As they look to turn it back onto Brance, the damage is there. Brance taking quite a lot of heat in that little exchange.
Yeah, level 1 spell shield forces out the cleanse for the exhaust trait of summoners, but means that there's no way for Sivir to control the wave. That's one of the things that she does very well early on is with either W or Q start, you're able to trim the wave quite effectively. E start has no such ability, so we'll give that away. Nice little win there for Loud's bot lane. At the same time, I was talking about them setting up for... yeah, difficult to engage there when the... not level 2 yet, because then you can break off with the crash down and get your stun from the tether for Seosh. So might want to have waited a little bit. Now level 2, having control of that minion wave though, still feeling very good. Where I was going though is obviously DFM were reading a bot to top clear for Croc. I think that they expected him to try and go up to that Jax matchup and try and affect it early on, but instead going down to the bot side and saying we'll get up here later, or going for a tricky gank. You can see actually Maokai not going down to his bot camps to clear. They do have a ward, so they should know something's up, but this is a weird timing window.
Straight onto mid we go. The stun is going to chain in. A beautiful seismic shove, though, for Yaharong. Is going to disengage the gank.
Yaharong gets out without even having to burn his flash. The flick, like I said, so good with it, able to force Maokai away so that the knockback came through and pushed him closer to his turret instead of pushing him into the waiting arms of Lissandra. But with that push on mid, they have so much mid prio now. They can go ahead and try and contest steal on his camps. Fortunately, he's been power farming away. Should be able to get these away and get out.
Yep, is going to get them all. Gets away. Surely we're not diving here.
Oh, we're diving here, buddy.
Here goes Croc. Yaharong got pretty low from the attempt. He flashes in. They're going to follow up with the E. And the gank is successful, but Croc is going to be traded. It is Steel that gets the early goal, but First Blood does go to Loud.
First Blood goes to Loud, the Lissandra death zombie clone, able to get a slow onto Steel to stop him from chaining down. Harp gonna say hello, goodbye, I don't want to be here, but we're ganking.
The old Yuumi roam onto tinowns era. Steel pushes them back. Taliyah is here, teleporting back in, trying to set it up, and tinowns is low, but he's not dead just yet. Man's got TP. Are we out of here?
This is a risky TP. Steel's trying to get in range. He should be out.
He's out. Just barely.
tinowns barely surviving that gank. I thought he was doomed for sure. I thought he was dead initially in the 3v1. Then I thought he was going to burn down. Then I thought surely Steel's going to get to him in time. Clueless, he made it out.
Nicely done. Only 1 kill apiece as the fireworks are lit up early here in this series. Let's watch this one. I cannot believe they dive this, but I guess you could.
Come on, they're going for it. You know they're going for it.
I like it.
With the flashes up, you know you're probably dead, especially since they saw Steel there. I think that they just assumed, like, yeah, this is a 1-for-1, but probably worth it because we're shutting in the mid laner on a wave.
Yep.
This roam by Harp, I mean, the Yuumi level 2 roam is not the most threatening thing in the world, but still, the tinowns getting flicked back there by Yaharong. Again, the accuracy on that, they think they have them, but that triple stun buys enough time to stop any autos from coming through that would have killed tinowns and get that jump over the wall, the recall out, saving mid lane there. I feel like if tinowns died, that would be so devastating.
Hey, also seen a few Lissandra bans so far in the first 2 games of this series. Can kind of see why. tinowns obviously very comfy on the champion with that nifty little escape. Bottom side has been Brance and Seos continuing to be aggressive. A little bit of a lead, but not more than a wave. So I don't think Yutapon is struggling too much here. Going to be A-OK just farming away because that's the Sivir Yuumi game.
Yep, able to get through what was a bit of a tricky level 1, level 2 phase here. Still don't have control of the wave, but now in the farming portion of the Sivir lane phase, you just want to chill out, clear the waves. You can still do some decent damage. Some people are like, the 3-item Sivir power spike, but realistically, you're always a bit of a threat once you get your first item completed. Obviously not quite as strong as when you are at the 3 items, so they always have that in their back pocket. This is a surprising amount of pressure going mid lane with this Lissandra pick. I thought they'd be more focused on roaming topside, but they are just trying to bully Yaharong.
Might be 6 off this wave. If he Qs it all, I think he is going to be, but it doesn't look like Croc wants to commit for it. tinowns going to actually slow push the wave instead. Wasn't quite 6 actually, so needed 1 extra minion of XP to set it up. I do like the look there from Croc, but ultimately doesn't have the tools to try and force it to happen, even though Yaharong doesn't have flash. Also has now swapped to cleanse, so I think he's also aware of the threat on his life.
Yeah, Yaharong understanding, hey, they're hitting 6 now. I am in one-shot territory, have to be a little bit careful. There were some wards out from Loud, so I think they knew that Steel was on bot Scuttlecrab during that timing window, but like you said, it was more about whether or not they could actually get the kill onto Yaharong, deciding it was going to be too many resources. We'll see if they keep trying to focus mid, because this is kind of what you do into a global that people talk about, is attack the global, make it get stuck in lane. Steel, I'm going to try and contest this ward clear, but neither having 6 yet means it's pretty easy for Croc to just walk away there. And so this attention has stopped them from getting top, potentially. Now that Yaharong is 6, though, this is when it's really the time that the global turns on the line, so we'll see if he can get up there and help Evie out, who is even farming thus far, but Robo's had the push.
Yeah, starting the Dragon very early here. Seos tries to find the angle. Steel though goes back in, gets ulted by Lissandra. You do not have cleanse, so tinowns takes your life. As Yutapon, no!
Buddy!
No! Oh, boy.
Tell me that wasn't an A move. I don't think A move is supposed to target
doesn't
blast
work
cone.
on
Yeah,
Brance,
so
I'm
I don't
pretty
know.
sure.
He just must have accidentally clicked that blast cone as he was trying to backstep away. I could see he was thinking, oh, I'm going to get a lot of ricochets, going to get some boomerang blades in here. Hits the blast cone, throws himself up, turns it into a 2 for 0 and a dragon for Loud, doing much better this time around this game.
It's the second, just mistake we've seen Yutapon make so far this series. Game 1, it was that Caitlyn net, which, I assume is a straight-up mechanical bliss play. This one feels worse. Hitting the blast cone and then flashing after this play. Great setup by Loud, by the way. Love the commitment here to the play.
Yeah, I mean, Loud start the dragon, kind of bait Steel in. Not 6 yet means that they have very easy break control. They can just one-shot and much stronger here.
Oh no!
Ooh,
it was
Brance! The Giga Brain! Brance! Finding that kill. We have no eyes, Pastry. You
Correct.
and I both think it's a mistake. Hey, look at him. He knows. He's popping off about that.
Even the coaching staff don't believe what just happened, but I take it all back. Yutapon, you didn't do nothing wrong.
You know what,
in that
Yutapon?
instance.
You get a formal apology from both Pastry and I.
Yes, you do.
We slandered your name.
You're still a great gamer. We love you. You don't have flash now, so life perhaps will be a bit tricky if tinowns or Croc want to revisit your lane. But Brance with the heads-up play to find that kill.
Yeah, using the CC of the blast cone to put Yutapon in and get that other kill. Here we'll see now. Flick back.
Great little flick into the stun. Off we go goes tinowns, though. It does have ulti coming back off cooldown, as Brance is going to have to cleanse off that exhaust out of Harp and back away.
Just trading ults there as well. Yutapon did commit his ult.
Ooh, this is very, very nice. tinowns trying to bait. It's a bit aggressive, but Croc has found the angle. Maokai, man, he's just going off as tinowns he wants it, but he knows he can't get too far forward, and Yaharang has kited this out perfectly as tinowns continuing to still bait away. Uses the ulti onto Steel and Croc. He just cannot stay here.
Oh man, they saw the kill in their eyes. Croc wanted to stay in there, but Yaharong didn't really give tinowns an angle back in there. He wanted to initially, I think, get the ult under the turret when Steel got the punch back, or excuse me, Croc got the punch back. Couldn't actually walk forward because the minefield came out. That roam by Seosh does mean that Brance is low into this turret, but it should be just fine. No 6 for Yuumi quite yet.
Should be turret as well for turret plate, excuse me, not the whole turret. That'd be quite absurd. They're going to get a bit of extra gold perhaps here, although the wave is now rejoining, so it doesn't look like it right yet as Seos returns to lane. However, Robo, who's been having a pretty fun time in top lane, nice and even, but having priority, it seems like, from the minimap. Gonna go ahead, start off this Herald and make sure Croc and him can get it, but everyone's here in the 3v3. Seos roaming up though.
Steel has ult.
Evie almost mega, but the Rift Herald goes over quietly to Loud. So no drama at the Herald, no panic at the Scuttle.
I was ready for the Panic at the Disco reference. Not the case. Did not have the tools to kind of contest that one. Evie's ult, I believe, was down still, so they would have had steals potentially. tinowns had no ult, but just were not in position on the same side. I think you want to be grouped up for that one. So Loud continued their good early game. The gold lead close, mostly off the back of some good farming. Evie's got some, also got the turret plate, I believe, like you said, in the bot lane. Gonna give them a little bit of gold. But now with the Rift Herald, Loud should be able to get that one back. We also have a handful of kills. Feeling very good.
Yeah, tinowns, all the kills that Loud have do belong to him, so we'll see how he does with his extra gold in this early game. Yaharong finally being contained a little here in the mid lane, although still looking very nice on the Taliyah despite the pressure that's been coming his way. Is Steel going to go ahead and massacre the Rift Scuttler in the bottom half of the Rift?
All right, we'll see where they want to use this Rift Herald. It does feel like Jax is the obvious target in terms of wanting to snowball him, but they seem fairly content with the counter pick to just actually go top and stay top and ignore him and leave him on an island. This might be going down to the bot side to try and snowball the Kai'Sa. Also might give them prio to get the second dragon when it spawns in a minute and a half. You can see Loud already putting some work in, clearing out some vision control here. So that way DFM will have to face check them when this dragon spawns.
A much faster potential dragon scaling here as well for Loud. We often see the first dragon getting taken around this time actually. So the fact that we're 50 seconds away from number 2 is kind of different. Back to the old patch before we got hit a world, I suppose.
Yeah, also this individual series has been a little slow in the first dragon take. They've been scrappy games, so I can see why it's been a focus of, it's been hard to actually get enough control to start one. Dragons, as we've talked about many times, got much tankier, a little bit harder to just brute force down on your own. And these games having heavily contested early games means it's hard to get enough control to actually get it.
You can see Croc continually walking through contested areas, throwing down saplings. It's one of the big things that makes Maokai so powerful. But a lot of time spent trying to secure potential vision, potentially cover for some sort of play that you're setting up, maybe even a dive in a certain area. But for now, it looks like teams are going to back away. Should be back in time to contest for this dragon as Evie finds himself a plate. And this time, it's the quick mythic for tinowns.
Tinowns grabbing the Liandry's, not going for the what I would have initially expected of Everfrost, more setup. Given that he's 3-0, he decides that, hey, I need to carry. They are a relatively low damage team comp. Yes, obviously, a Kai'Sa can pump it out. The Jax has plenty of individual damage, but in terms of AoE team fights, it's really kind of just Lissandra and Maokai, and that's obviously more CC and utility oriented, so grabbing that for a little bit more damage makes some sense. We've talked about how team fight oriented these games have been. If you want a little bit better DPS here, I can totally understand that decision. You have plenty of CC. Between Rell, Lissandra, and Maokai, I'm not sure you need the CC of Everfrost, and, you know, makes sense.
Yep, tinowns here. Trying to bait Yutapon, at least going to make that recall delayed by a little bit longer. Mid lane, Brance in trouble. Yaharong so accurate with the seismic shoves, but Brance will live to tell the tale. However, that disrupts his bottom side of the rift as the Yuumi ultimate is out now. Steel running onto Croc, onslaught of shadows to follow, and that's one. Can it be two? tinowns the next target, has to self-ult, but still not really has any help. There's the help he's looking for. Stasis finds it, Brance goes in, flashes for the killer instinct, a very aggressive move, and Yaharong will punish.
Big overstep by Loud in the bot lane there. They just did not have the tools to contest Steel with a Yuumi on top of him. They start that fight out. Loud try and collapse, but it's too little too late. When tinowns arrives, he did his best to stall out that situation with a self-ult and having the stopwatch broken, but just not enough damage yet when Brance comes flying in. He was already kind of low from that trade before. Gives up multiple kills to DFM, evening out the kill count, but up in gold now, 1,000. As that second dragon spawns, we're not able to get it on the back end of it, and with Steel moving his way up to the top side, this might be the second dragon for them. As you see, here was Croc trying to solo out this dragon. Very risky decision to make with Taliyah having shove in the mid lane. Here, Yuumi as well, the exhaust not doing nearly enough. The speed up from Yutapon as well, they kill him. Here's tinowns, like we said, with this nice stall out self-ult. Tries to get the stopwatch as well for Seos and Brance to come in. It would look nice, but Brance is already so low that Yaharong just shows up and blows him up instantly.
Yeah, Yaharong actually finishing the job he started earlier in mid.
It's the self alley-oop off the backboard, but it was a very delayed alley-oop.
Still nice to see. Loud do get the second dragon for their trouble, so mission accomplished somewhat, but it is rather costly, and could it be more so as Evie in the mega form is lining it up, and Robo is going to have a friend TP to the top side, getting back in, now forced to flash out. tinowns is here, and that will stop the dive from Detonation FocusMe.
Still very nice for DFM, trading heavily up in summoners, getting the flash out of Robo, TP out of tinowns, getting some more pressure for Evie, buying space for Yutapon to shove down the bot side. Did have to give up a dragon to make that play. Steel sacked that one, giving the second to Loud, giving them the option of the dragon stacking, but I think DFM seem happy with that trade for the CS advantages and the pressure they were able to get.
Yeah, looks like mostly trying to snowball through this mid game, being more proactive. Steel pretty strong, even though he's going, looks like the tank build. Evie back on Trinity Force as always throughout this series, I believe. And then indeed is Chemtech done for Steel. So perhaps not the big carry he needs to be. Has trust in Yaharong and Yutapon here. And of course, Yuumi's going to add extra damage anyway. So
absolutely the case. Plenty of damage on this team comp. We see Brance going for the triple longsword to get the Q evolve completed. Sometimes people go for the serrated Dirk. You heard, oh, hold on. Just fine. So we'll have to see where he wants to go, if he does still build the Dirk or if that's building in something else.
Robo getting a bit aggressive. Level 11 has the Rell, had the Rell attached. You can see how all maybe lines up here. Starting this Rift Herald here. Loud have been pretty active in starting these objectives, but DetonatioN FocusMe have been quick to respond. Evie with the TP is going to kick it off here.
Gnar will be timing out soon, but that will mean that they have to reset the patience on the Scuttle Crab. So now they're looking for the re-engages. Evie times out. Here's tinowns.
Fight angle, but tinowns not quite there with the flank. The ulti a little too long range out of Croc, so does not ensnare anyone. And DetonatioN FocusMe just happy to try and find the trade. Great ulti there out of Yaharong. Robo may be diveable. No one else can join over just yet, but the tower perhaps the prize they're looking for. And indeed will get it. Steel postures, but does not commit.
Oh boy, DFM giving them the rope-a-dope a little bit here. Force them off the objective with the Evie teleport, excuse me. Then they get some ultimates out of Loud, who were trying to collapse in, couldn't do it, just shoved them back into mid lane where they already have Cryo, grab that turret. Now they have the inside track again on the Rift Herald. Some good poke by Harp as well, putting Robo to half HP. You can see they're just giving it up.
Yep.
He's actually just teleporting out of there. He's like, all right, Evie blew his TP for the objective. I'm burning it for my lane.
Can get the tower, might be worth it. At least Robo can get some gold and Loud can keep the game even. DetonatioN FocusMe up 1,500 gold. Seems like that's a number they'll look to increase in the next few minutes, especially now that they have the Rift Herald in their grasp. Robo does at least trade back, so the tower goes down. But again, DetonatioN FocusMe off to a small but early lead.
Feels pretty good right now, given that there's a lot of standing gold for them to grab. They have both side lane turrets as well, plus Cryo in mid lane. They should be able to grab this one even without the Rift Herald. Steel will hold on to this for some other objective, get the enhanced recall off. They also, with that mid turret down in Sivir, you can often get the shove quite easily, and then exert your map control from there to start contesting the objectives. I assume they're on enough of a power spike to want to fight this. They can, of course, wait for Sivir, 3 items, but like I said, given the gold lead that they have, you don't want to put them on Soul Point where it's a must-win fight on the 4th Dragon. So I think from here, I think DFM should definitely start contesting here, get the shove in mid-wave, get some vision control down the bot side of the map.
Yeah, generally, I think especially with this Taliyah, map plays seems really nice for DetonatioN FocusMe in a lot of these plays. So I imagine they'll be feeling good about making sure to set up for that Dragon in a minute 10 and deny that one away from Loud. Quick teleport check. I imagine tinowns has his. In fact, I imagine both mid laners do. They're just currently chilling on Ghost. They have Spellbook, so do not despair. Summon is still available to them, but DetonatioN FocusMe going to do the manual work here and walk down. Oh my goodness, Yuumi, why do you do so much damage? Anyway, loot Deco complete for the cat. It's part of the reason why, but still...
Gameplay!
Gameplay!
The Yuumi gameplay button. Press Q, put your mouse on their head. Watch it go.
Nice. Almost an FPS. Not quite there. We haven't evolved fully.
The only other thing you have to do is a question mark ping your pilot if they back up.
Yeah.
When they step away from the target you're trying to queue, you rage at them. Otherwise, you just sit on them. You give them free stats. Again, gameplay. Best players in the world.
Look at this. Attaching to the Hecarim, the fastest of the champions on your team. Oh, now to the closest person who's currently there. Very good gameplay out of Harp. Demonstrating the Yuumi mechanics at the absolute peak, as this Herald is going to be used nicely here to try and crack a tier 2 in mid. Loud splitting the difference a little bit here.
I think Loud have decided that they are not going to win this game right now for a team fight. They want to just get this objective, let them grab the mid turret, burn this down, use the Maokai ult to get the disengage. Now they got to get out.
Are the Dragon Soul team, and we will get the 3rd Dragon, but at what cost? It's Steel. Onslaught of Shadows back around, but Loud have actually navigated very nicely to get out safely. Evie, though, with the cat attached, is trying to make it happen. tinowns looking for a big play. Loud do not back down from a fight, but perhaps they should have. Still fighting. Steel, though. It's Brance that finds the kill. And take it all back as Loud have somehow found an angle, but Yutapon has slain Croc. Now the back end of the fight's going to be a bit tricky, and Yutapon is flashing in with the Yuumi attached, trying to slay the rest of Loud.
Oh, he didn't get him!
Has found the stun, the cleanse is there, and Robo, once again, has found a big moment on the world's biggest stage. And Loud are doing it once more.
Loud somehow win the third dragon fight. At the tail end of it, I thought they were dead for sure when the full HP Yutapon was flanking on the backside. The Yuumi still attached to him, but he could not actually finish off anyone's. tinowns kiting it out at the last possible second, and Robo, this absolute monster team fighter, pops off yet again. So from here, you think that, okay, maybe this is a sack one situation, get out. Who am I kidding? Of course, Loud's actually gonna fight it. They had this chase down. The initial engage looked very good for DFM. Evie, I thought he was gonna go right then, jump flash onto multiple people, but instead kites it back. Steel almost kills Brance here just with the Yuumi attached. Brance staying alive critically allows him to ult back in, finish him off. This re-engage here from this position looks so good for DFM. You have multiple members low, Yutapon flashing in, one auto short, the root misses the boomerang blade, can't get another auto there, takes a ton of damage during that sequence, and then Robo gets the double stun, claps him down. Seos finally goes in with his ultimate, locks him down. Robo goes in yet again. Brance retargets onto Evie. tinowns finds that kill. It's insanity that they're able to win this fight.
Absolute madness, but Loud come out again. Brance, don't despair too much.
And they won the fight.
Yeah.
That was a relief, I think.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he was like, oh my God, how did we pull that one off?
Well, 3,700 damage and 3,500 damage for your mid laner and AD carry respectively is part of it. Mid Lissandra, you know, have to think Everfrost utility might be good there, but the damage numbers do not lie, Mark Z.
Nope, I'm still gonna stick with my defense of the Liandry's there. Absolutely huge in that team fight. Now, from this position, hold on. tinowns in trouble.
Freeze. And
tinowns not in trouble.
Steal, though.
tinowns in trouble?
Does have Azanya. Oh, it doesn't matter. Maybe it should be a kill. It is indeed. TP
Teleport.
coming in. Is there counterplay? Robo keeps saying his aim every time there's a play in any lane. Mans just does not stop as Brance zooms on in to pick off Yaharong. Steel's gonna live, but one back for Loud again.
Absolutely critical for DFM that Steel did not drop there. Baron is up. They might have enough pressure to force it down anyways. tinowns is up in 24 seconds with teleport 30 on Yaharong. There's a bit of a disjoint. They could start the Baron off and have a TP flank set up. Looks like they're gonna go for this one. I like the aggression here out of Loud, trying to capitalize.
They're just gonna send it here onto the Baron. I like the start. Steel's coming back in. He's got cat speed. He's got ghost, but again, I think it is too far. Doesn't have ulti, by the way. Cannot actually get into the back of the pit. So it's going to be Yutapon with the heroics, but nothing comes up. It's Live with the Baron and the advantage.
tinowns is up. He has that ward to try and teleport on in the river. We'll see if they turn or just happy to get the Baron.
Evie almost charged up a Hex Flash away from Seos there. Croc might have to give up his life. He flashes out instead. It is going to be at least one dead. Surely there is Seos will have to be sacrificed, but tinowns, it's going to get clipped by Evie. Seos still living, but not for much longer, and everyone else gets away.
All right, tinowns holds the TP, just runs to his team to help peel. The call there was clearly, we've got the Baron, let's get out, let's reset. We now have Baron for the 4th dragon fight. That means that you should have priority from the buffed up creeps to make sure that you get control there. This whole sequence was absolute madness. I thought for sure, initially tinowns is out. They had to commit so many resources to kill him. Not dying here is huge, getting that last second stopwatch off means that they have to stay there, which gives time for Robo's teleport to complete, for Croc's ultimate to come flying in. Steel gets out. Yaharong loses his life, though, and because Steel got so low, they didn't want to go for the Smite Steel. I thought for sure that he would just hang around and then maybe try and contest the pit, but with no ultimate, they have to regen, go back to base. During that time, Loud makes the great call to burn down that Baron. Now we have the Dragon in 20 seconds. DFM gonna have to fight this one.
Yeah, Rebel Baron power play looking good right now, but gonna have to do a lot of the heavy lifting as far as map state goes, because to your point, that 3rd Dragon that Loud managed to get, even without winning the fight after that, which they did do, would have been a nice spot for them to be in trying to get this Infernal Soul. Now it's very tense as Detonation FocusMe must contest every single soul from this point, and Robo's Jax is already splitting bottom lane.
We'll see what DFM tries to do here. Giving up the soul feels very dangerous, but they're making the initial move onto Robo.
Robo's just trying to get out of there perhaps, but he's in a 2v1. Yaharong, though, is going to be the target. Flash stun out, trying to buy some time. He ward hops to safety. Blast cone there as well. Louder actually on the dragon. Yutapon is going to actually just get zoned out by the Maokai ulti and by Robo, but here comes Taliyah. Dragon goes over. Robo dies. Croc there as well. I think he's going to have to be sacrificed, but Loud just get away with the soul.
Loud grabbed the soul. DFM grabbed 2. I still favor Loud in that trade. I understand it was been a very difficult team fight for them to win. Still have to feel good for Loud. CB LoL looking good in game 3 here. They forced DFM off their typical late game scaling control mage for Yaharong. The Taliyah has not looked bad, but it's not quite been the same team fight threat. DFM have not been able to run away with this game. I was ramping up to like, oh, DFM are winning game 3, but then that third dragon fight by Loud was so well fought. They're still down a little bit in gold, but obviously massively up in stats.
Yeah, that's all not reflected in the gold numbers you can see above them, but is very significant. tinowns looking for a 1v1. Yaharong the target. No fuller. It does have flash, just barely missed that one. Does have to use it though. Evie takes the tower in bottom lane. So Detonation FocusMe dealing with a lot of the damage that Baron could have done. But again, what actually happened, what actually was in that power play is just reflected in the 4 icons under Loud's gold.
Definitely not the ideal Baron. Obviously, you want to grab some turrets and then grab the dragon as well. Robo was caught out trying to go for that bot lane one, but like we said, still very happy with the trade. Now 2.5 minutes before Baron. I expect Loud to take this relatively slow. That's not necessarily their MO, so I could be wrong with my expectations, but they do have a very strong team fight composition. Robo did lose his flash as well, trying to escape from that situation. So not going to be able to pressure quite as hard as he would have normally. You see the 4-man of Loud grouping up in this river, trying to get some Baron control, knowing that this is going to be the focus for the next couple minutes.
Not quite 3 items for the Kai'Sa, unfortunately, but I think still enough here for Loud. Again, especially with the Infernal Soul. If you need damage, it's certainly a way to make some up. I think Loud are feeling comfy enough here to try and threaten around the next objective. The game is still tense.
Still tense. Steel going for the I move quick build. Not the biggest threat, but does have a Yuumi attached to him.
Oh, Brance takes the ulti early, does have flash, but he wants to get to the blast cone. That's the safety he needs. Infernal Rift coming up clutch.
Double blast cone, but still costs both summoners. Steel only had to use Ghost. Gives them Prio in the mid lane as well. Might be able to break an inhibitor turret.
Nice activity here from Detonation FocusMe, keeping the tempo high here in this game. Trying to buy space for the upcoming Baron, but don't get yourself flanked here. Brance is back with a vengeance. No ulti though, but Croc's ulti doesn't quite connect. It's Robo actually, the one in the bottom side, trying to do the damage to the structures.
Here comes Lissandra holding the wave in the mid lane. Has the 5-man of DFM trapped up. Now Robo's coming in.
All right, Loud gonna try and make it happen. Evie there goes in with the Mega Gnar, but it's not quite synced up. Yutapon though is still there, and the split fight's gonna work out in favor of Detonation FocusMe. Yaharong did die, but Yutapon's still alive. And the cat is just healing and healing the rest of the team. tinowns gonna go golden, but now he's gonna go down. It's Harp that gets the kill, as Loud cannot fight out of this one. Yutapon is unstoppable with the cat attached, and that's the ace for DFM.
This might be game. They already have the mid-inner turret, or inhibitor turret broken, excuse me. They have a cannon wave. It's 15 seconds on Brance, first one up, but then quite a while before any good reinforcement show up. Croc at 20. They have this one already down. DFM might have just won the game with that brute force down mid lane.
Certainly gonna have to try here. Yutapon here, the long-standing member of this team, one of the heroes of Japan, looking to bring Detonation FocusMe up to a series lead in this best of 5. Brance with some miraculous defense. That is damage. Is that enough? Nexus open. Oh, it's so close. But it's Detonation FocusMe as Evie shakes his head. Cannot believe how that ends.
Yutapon staying alive, not able to be finished off. Around 100 health left on the tail end of that. He carried that last fight and he finishes off the Nexus. Absolutely insane ending to this game. I thought for sure it was in favor of Loud. After the 4th dragon, they had Infernal Soul, but they for some reason chose to try and split Robo for so long. They lost the sums on Brance. The teleport came in late. You have this great team fighting buff. They just didn't use it.
It's funny because we know them for their team fighting. Even Robo on, the Olaf, which we think, oh, that's a split push pick. Found a way to team fight on it.
The team fighting on Jax is still fine.
Exactly.
When they go down mid lane, I'm like, oh, here's the double TP flank. You're going to trap them in. But Robo waited so long to collapse that it gave them this opportunity to just jump back on Brance. I can't believe that Loud let that one get through their fingers. That could be the serious mistakes that cost them their run at Worlds.
And to quote you from earlier, this is paraphrasing, but 3 items, Sivir, Teehee. That's basically what you said.
I don't think I said it quite like that, but yes, that is the spirit of what you said is correct. Yutapon did a really good job this game. There were some mistakes. There was that play in the bot lane where he had this fat flank. You think he's going to control that entire team fight, had that mistake. So it was really nice to see him in this mid lane fight, kiting out all the threats of Loud, able to stay alive and then finish off the next.
And don't worry, we'll be at the State Farm Analyst desk in a moment, but I imagine they're rushing back to their seat.
Everyone was there. They're eating food. They're like, oh, let me get
end.
another drink here. We'll just take it easy. And then you're like, wait a minute. That game ended somehow.
Yeah.
No neutral objective. We're like, oh, Baron's in 2 minutes. There's no Elder right now. You're not expecting the game to end. There's like a random split push. Maybe they'll get inhibitor. Oh, the game's over.
Yep. And I mean, perhaps just a map call at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is why we were talking about DFM being scary in the best of 5 for Loud, was the experience as a team saying, all right, well, let's try and charge down mid lane. You get Brance's sums, and it's one of these snowball plays where you keep seeing how much more you can get. When are they really going to stop and contest us? We got his sums. We got the mid inhibitor turret. Now they're finally trying to stop us. Go back onto Brance and kill him, and then the game's over.
Yeah, very spicy. But when that point now upon us, we're going to be breaking down the game at the State Farm Analyst desk.
I don't want to give Mark the satisfaction of being right, but he was very right. That I was, in fact, in the kitchen when the game ended and had to sprint across the studio to get back. So I actually only heard the end of the game and didn't even get to see it myself, but 2 thumbs up.
Yes,
DFM ahead in this series now at 2-1. But I'll turn to you two since I didn't actually get to see
really
this
exciting.
final moment of the game.
Yeah, so basically, it's looking like Loud is trying to get a pincer move on. They have Infernal Soul, so they think they're going to be able to win any of these fights, except the Kai'Sa just gets evaporated at the start of this fight, which I think is really crucial, since Yuumi plus Hecarim or Yuumi plus Sivir can just supply so much team fight damage towards the end. And really no one, to me, can get on top of Yutapon this whole time, and he just kind of shreds through everybody on the team. But then, after that, they were still racing against the respawn timers to see if they can end the game. So, yeah, we're going to go all the way through this one, Dash. You can experience it once again.
I'm grateful to production for allowing me this opportunity. Lyric, what was your impressions of this game overall as we watch the final moments?
Honestly, it's just like every game. I feel like every game in the series so far has been absolute. I mean, again, the fact that
they're all back and forth.
The fact that again, Mark was right.
Yeah.
You're constantly on the edge of your seat with how back and forth these team fights are going, how crazy the rotations have been, and I mean, Loud having soul but still not able to close this one out. DFM almost not able to end. Loud almost able to save it, but almost doesn't matter when there's 2 thumbs up behind us.
So 3 games in, and looking at the 10 champions, I'm glad we're pulling Champ Select itself back up. To me, it's starting to feel like this is all about bot lane, because that's where we're seeing most of the shifts.
Yeah.
We've got Gnar across most of the games. We've had, the Maokai, the Hecarim reached for a majority of the time. But this time around, a Kai'Sa, a Rell, a Sivir, a Yuumi, that's 4 unique picks for this series.
Yeah.
So Game 3, both teams just decided to pivot away from what they had been doing in the bot lane.
And let's remember, where we started. In Game 1, we started with, Caitlyn Morgana.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, we want something more brawly, more skirmishy. And I feel like both teams have gone that direction. I feel like the one difference that DFM have committed to, whether in mid or bot, has been keeping scaling elements in their comp. Typically, it's been in the mid lane with the Azir, but now with that finally banned out, I kind of like the pivot to the Sivir Yuumi. The casters were even hitting on hey, Loud have damage, but it's not the most insane high damage 5v5 composition ever, right? Jax, it's about 1 target at a time. Lissandra as well, it's a lot more about the utility. So then you're left with this Kai'Sa needing the assassination potential when you have Yuumi there to pretty much supplement everything that the side of DFM has.
Yeah, and going over the highlights, this was a very back and forth game. One thing that I think has been pretty common throughout all 3 is DFM is the scaling team, and Loud is the team that's trying to make most things happen in the early game. But I would also say DFM has kind of looked like the better team in all three games because they haven't fallen far enough behind in the early game, and then the scaling brings it through. This was a very ill-advised Drake start by Croc.
Yeah, kind of just like hitting on your point of DFM looking like the better team, I actually think this game was probably the most clear example because they had numerous points where, right, this series mostly been about team fighting. DFM were out-rotating Loud in a lot of these games. The second Rift Herald especially, where Loud pull out the TP from DFM, and then like we have this play where like the Taliyah wall stops him from going to mid lane. DFM are able to take that mid lane turret, and just so many situations like that. Heck, even third dragon, where they're like, hey Loud, you can go start third dragon. We break tier 2 turret down in mid lane. So I think some really smart plays, and actually it might have been this fight that turned into.
This fight was crazy. I thought this fight is what was going to put Loud up 2-1 in the series actually, because this wasn't even the soul fight yet, but they got the third Drake, and I'm like, okay, they should literally just run away. Like, they were not in, to me, a favorable position, but they clutched this fight out. Watch tinowns here. He should be dead. Yuumi, Sivir both miss. He hops away, but then he actually manages to re-engage in this fight later as the Rell flies in and gets a stun. And this is where Brance is gonna kick himself. Watch this. Watch Brance at the bottom right.
Oh, no!
Fed a bunch of gold over to Taliyah, which made that not as big of a fight win. And then this one, I also think, was generally an outplay. So because Jax could buy so much time, it's literally just burst the soul. And soul gives you so much combat power, you think this is going to be the clincher for the game, but it ultimately was not.
Yeah, especially an Infernal, you would think. But to me, that goes to support the point that DFM has looked like the better team in these late game moments. It's typically Loud that's pushing the pace early, trying to build an advantage and then hold on to it. DFM, while again, it hasn't been clean necessarily across the series for either team, as it's been back and forth, they are typically the one that feels a little bit more synergistic in the late game, a little bit more set up around objectives.
It makes sense too, right? Mark was hitting on it that, I mean, this is the experienced team that has played together. Like, heck, we've even said for Brance, this is his first split. So for Loud, this squad as a 5 have not been together for all too long. DFM as an org, the players coming to the international stage again and again and again. I think it kind of makes sense that DFM are definitely stronger in that area.
Well, we talk about experience. We'll see if that experience can get them to wrap it up in 4 at 3-1. Yesterday, we caught up with Yaharong to talk about this squad's ceiling, the goals for their Worlds run, and what DFM need to do to take the series. Check it out.
안녕하세요. DFM 미드 야하롱 이찬주입니다. 마지막에 져가지고 지금 통곡을 하고 있습니다, 속으로. 저는 지금까지 프로 생활해오면서 상대보다 저의 플레이에 포커스를 맞춰서 뭐 상대가 어떻게 했고 뭐 그런 것보다 그냥 제가 아쉬웠던 게 제일 좀 느껴지고 DFM만의 장점. 저희가 좀 고점은 제일 높은 것 같고 근데 지금 좀 월즈 와서는 좀 기복이 계속 있는 것 같아서 그거만 잡으면 고점은 충분히 저희가 장점이 아닌가.
DFM, come back with a vengeance, come back from the grave, and come back to smack EG.
뭐 이지나 라우드나 똑같이 그냥 제가 지금 뭔가 이 짧은 시간 안에 성장을 하지 않으면 좀 힘들지 않을까 생각하고 그 짧은 시간 안에 좀 제대로 준비해야 할 것 같습니다. 생각보다 잘하던데. 지금 LJL에서 최고로 성적 낸 게 그룹 스테이지까지인데 거기서 좀 더 나아가서 좀 LJL에서 가장 높은 성적을 한번 이뤄서 좀 역사를 써내려 가보고 싶다? 뭐 그런 생각이 강한 것 같아요. 정말 저희 그 LJL에서 팬분들이 뭔가 계속 DFM이 LJL의 그 고점 그 가장 높은 곳을 한번 찍어보는 그걸 기대하고 이렇게 봐주시는 게 정말 몸으로 느껴지는데 그 기대에 정말 보답하고 싶고 기대 많이 해주십시오.
Yaharong with his sights set on history making for the LJL, needing to go further than the group stage here at Worlds. And he's putting a lot of ownership over that onto himself, as we saw, thinking it's up to him to improve and push the team to that level. Wow, they sit in great position in this series. We head to game 4 with Loud selecting blue side. We're going to head to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about what that means and what you can expect in that 4th game of this series. We'll catch you back here in just a few.
Don't ever say it's over.